This talk is about describing an effective teaching method for preclinical med students. The literature on preclinical med student class attendance and most attractive teaching method is extensive. It is not my intention to review it, nor to talk to you about it. What I intend to tell about teaching medical students is purely anecdotal. I am well aware of the low value of anecdotes in the strength of evidence pyramid, but YouTube videos are at the same level and we all know how useful they are. So I like to start this anecdotal journey by showing you this photograph. This photograph portrays a classroom full of medical students attending a lecture. This is not at all what I have experienced at different universities. Classrooms during medical students' lectures are almost empty. I remember taking this photograph. I was sitting in the back of the classroom feeling embarrassed about the poor attendance to the lecture of a guest speaker I had invited. I took this picture in the Arab Emirates when running the 2023 neurology course at Khalifa University. Except for the hijabs and the abayas, I could have taken a similar photograph years before when I was working in the USA. I would say that on the average, only about 10 to 15% of preclinical med students consistently assist neurology lectures, most preferring to acquire knowledge by other venues. And COVID cannot be blamed for this. It was happening before COVID and it is still happening now. Not having COVID to blame, the question I have asked myself is why. At the beginning of each course, I tell the students that the road to better grades is simple. Attend class and take handwritten notes. Limit the use of online lectures, no rewatching lectures. Study for 6 to 8 hours a day and review lectures notes the same day you take them. But usually the next day or shortly after, attendance is down. Having faced this situation many times, I experimented with ways to change it. Initially, many years ago, I thought the poor attendance was restricted to the topic of neuroscience. So I looked at cardiology classes, it was the same. Then I looked at nephrology lectures and there was no difference. So I realized that the problem was not with neuroscience. I then blamed the speakers, including myself. So I brought in younger speakers from different backgrounds to give the lectures. There was no change. I questioned methodology and technical presentation. To improve methodology, I incorporated the use of in-class quizzes and encouraged students to do Google searches to find the answers in the classroom. To improve the technical aspect, I incorporated 3D visual technology to the lectures. These last two steps improve active participation and it did improve attendance, but not for long. Soon, the students requested to have the questions sent home. Then I tried Zooming the lectures in real time. Timing became an issue. And then recording the lectures as they were being delivered and putting them on a platform so the students could watch them at home on the time of their choosing. This made classrooms emptier, the students happier, staff lecturers less enthusiastic, and guest speaker less willing to come to the university to give lectures. This observation led me to the following obvious conclusions. Most medical students prefer home learning at the time of their choosing. They prefer recorded lectures and active participation. This conclusion, coupled with an old sailor's dictum, "We cannot direct the wind, but we can adjust the sails," led me to use a 4-step method for teaching preclinical med students. I will show you this method using an example. This is Joe, a preclinical medical student sitting comfortably at home. He feels inspired to study the history of medicine module. The first thing he does, that is the first step, is to open his computer, to go to his personal email, look for the email labeled pre-video history of medicine quiz. The quiz was sent as a Google Form document sometimes before, and once he finds it, click on it. The instructions in this document are valid for steps 1 and 2. The first element instructs to initially answer all questions on his own, not using any resources. Secondly, to consider what is the basis for his answer. Something seen in a movie, something read in a novel, or something heard in a classroom. This process is important because rationalizing the answers open up the brain, figuratively speaking, and improve future recall of the information. The last element of the instruction is to watch the relevant video and, as he goes along viewing it, to correct the answers when necessary. In the document below the instructions, he will see the questions. Usually the document has 10 or more questions, but as you can see, for the purpose of this video, I am only using 3 questions. We will refer to the moment he starts answering them as times 0. He is given 15 minutes regardless of the number of questions, thus he starts taking the quiz. He reads the first question, thinks about it, comes to a decision, rationalizes the reason for his choice, and then answers it. He then reads the second question, thinks about it, comes to a decision, rationalizes the reason for his choice, and answers it. Now reads the third question, thinks about it, comes to a decision, rationalizes the reason for his choice, and answers it. So he started at time 0, 15 minutes after he must have finished, and he goes on to the second step, for which he has already received the instruction in the initial document. This step may take 45 minutes to 1 hour, the time it would take to watch the related video. So he has the form with the initial chosen answers. Now he looks for the video titled History of Medicine. He finds the video by going to Google, then to my channel in YouTube, and types Israel Alfonso 2569 on the YouTube search bar. Once there, clicks on it, the channel appears, clicks on the video, and selects the History of Medicine video. The video has the same questions embedded, and after a brief explanation following each question, it provides the correct answer. As per the instruction, Joe, if necessary, changes those incorrect answers as he follows the brief explanation. Now, let's look at a brief sample video to get a better idea. The video goes as follows. This talk is about the history of medicine. It will be conducted using a question and answer format. The first question is, who wrote Tabulae Anatomicae Clarissimi Viri? A. Bartolomeu Eustachi. B. Franciscus Silvius. C. René Descartes. D. Hippocrates of Cos. Bartolomeu Eustachi was born around 1500 to 1510. He worked in what is today known as La Sapienza University in Rome. The Tabulae Anatomicae Clarissimi Viri is a compilation of his writing. So the answer is A. Next question. How many students were standing during the anatomy lesson? A2, B6, C3, D1. Now, I'd like to bring your attention to the drawing of the anatomy lesson. No doubt that the main actor is the cadaver. This is probably Bartolomeu Eustachi pointing to the spleen in the dissected corpse. These two, and these two seems to be having a conversation not related to the dissection. I have no idea what the finger is about. These two and these two seems to be having a conversation related to the dissection. This one and this one are probably asking Bartolomeu to stop. I really cannot imagine what this one is doing. This one looks as if falling asleep. This one seems to be paying attention. So the answer is C. Next question. What was the method of body part disposal during the anatomy lesson? A. Incineration. B. Inurnment. C. Dogs. D. Interment. Going back to the drawing, we can see the dogs resting after eating all disregarded body parts, and the skeleton, judging by the posture, I persuade myself to think that it's ranting against human dissection. So the answer is C. So, in the process of viewing the video, Joe realizes that his initial answers were wrong, and as the video progresses, he corrects them. Now, we go to the third step. It starts with Joe going back to his personal email, looking for an email labeled Post Video Questions 1 for History of Medicine, and clicking it. He then will receive a new document with new instructions. The instruction explains that the quiz has 10 questions, is open for 15 minutes. The questions are to be answered using any available resources such as books and the internet, and upon completion, submit it. Under the instruction, Joe will find questions. Again, for the sake of optics, I am only using 3 questions for this demonstration. The questions are different but pertaining to the same subject, in this case, history of medicine. Each question should be answered in 90 seconds. Joe will then read the first question and search for an answer using any medium, Google or artificial intelligence of any kind. He will come to a conclusion and click his choice. He then looks at the second question, and after going through the same process, decides on the best answer. He clicks it, and do the same with the next question. Comes to a conclusion and clicks it. When finished, the form should be submitted, and he will receive his score. In this imaginary example, Joe will see that he has one question wrong, but is not told which of the three answers was wrong. This step has taken 15 minutes, so the third step is over, and here comes the fourth and last step. This step starts immediately after the submission and getting his score. Joe goes back to his email, looks for an email labeled Post Video Question 2 for History of Medicine. This document has the same 10 questions, but each question is preceded by 1 or 2 paragraphs that provide information leading to the correct answer. In the instruction, it is stated that there is no time limit, but he is encouraged to take no longer than 15 minutes. In this frame, I am showing the first question. Joe, after reading the initial paragraph, here interrupted because of a space restriction, will read the question and answer it. He will do the same for the next 9 questions. And in the last question, at the end of the document, he will find a submit button, which when activated will list the correct and incorrect answers. He will then go back and review the incorrect answers, commentary, and correct his answers. If there are any issues, Joe can contact the proctor through email. So wrapping things up, students preferred home learning at the time of their choosing. They preferred recorded lectures and active participation. The described teaching method is internet-based. Step 1 and 2 are summarized in this figure. The students received a set of questions that must be answered in 15 minutes without any help. Then watches the video where each question is discussed and the correct answer provided. During the third step, the student received a set of 10 questions on the same subject. He is encouraged to use artificial intelligence to find the correct answer. The students select the answer considered correct. A score is provided, but without revealing the actual correct and incorrect answers. During the fourth step, the same questions are resent to the student, but with a preceding commentary that helps choose the correct answer. The student reads the comments and answers every question. Upon submission of the document, the student is presented with the correct answer. Any remaining issues can be handled by email, Zoom, or in person. Thank you very much for your attention.